we have everybody in yet?
Yes.
Jen or Josh?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, welcome to the March 9th Scituate Conservation meeting, and this is all virtual this evening. Before we start, there's two quick things we need to read. This meeting is being held virtual as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. And number two, Town of Scituate's commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion. The Scituate Conservation Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during our meeting. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our committee members and all that participate to commit to these standards and to support and respect our community. Okay, that said, we have an agenda for the evening. We're talking about 49 Whittier Drive, and then we have some open space, and I believe there's a chance. Are we talking about the eelgrass this evening, Jen?
Yes, some of the students from Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research should be joining us later.
Okay. So we can put that on. Is there anything else? Maybe we could hit on open space for a minute. Let's try to keep this meeting brief because it's an extra. You guys have a lot of meetings already. There's another one next week.
Okay,
So,
Frank.
Yes.
I just have a question that I want to ask the board in the open space thing about Mordecai. That will take 2 seconds, I hope.
All right. Well, that's kind of a broad subject. Open
Yeah,
space.
no, I understand that, but I just wanted to make you aware that I had a question.
We can't wait to hear it, Penny.
Oh, wait. You are gonna love it. You are gonna love it. You already gave me the answer before, but
anybody else with anything?
Just a question. Would we want to move on the administrative items C, D, and E, F above A and B?
Sure.
We can do that.
Well, do you want to do A just to if we have an applicant on for Whittier?
Sure.
We'll do Whittier, and then we can discuss the commission roles. And I heard you guys chatting before the meeting about timing and schedule, so maybe we'll have a minute to talk about that as well.
Okay, so I'll accept the agenda as written, Frank, with a couple of little add-ons. The eelgrass and
Penny made a motion. Have a second?
I'll second that.
That was Brendan. All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
I'm assuming he's okay with that. And Frank, yes. Okay, and we don't have Jen Foley, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so 49 Whittier. We did open this because that was the one that I did at the end of the meeting. So this has already been opened, and we have somebody from Webby Engineering.
Yes, and yes, I'm unmuting Joe Webby.
Good evening, Joe Webby, Webby Engineering. Can you hear me?
We got you.
All right, good. Yeah, so we're here at 49 Whittier Drive. The scope of the project is just a Title V septic repair. Just the house is for sale and they failed Title V, so we're fixing the septic system. We had the wetlands delineated by ECR. As you can see, it's a bit of a struggle to try and fit the size of the field that's required. outside the 50-foot buffer. We have had to ask for a couple of reductions from the Board of Health, mostly to have the height of the mound lowered, as well as to allow it to be a little bit closer to the dwelling in order to fit it, outside of the wetland setbacks. It is going. There's like an old defunct swimming pool there that's being removed as part of the project. All of the work to be performed is, within an existing, degraded yard and pool area. We are proposing, erosion controls. In those, there's no trees to be cut or anything like that. There will be some material added to the site, so there is, it'll be raised up about to the grade around the existing building, and then drop off at the property line. But other than that, it's basically just a Title V septic repair. We're kind of just doing the best that we can with the conditions that are on the site.
Okay. Jen?
Yes, the Board of Health didn't have any comments. It sounds like they're going to approve this plan also. There's a pool and part of the patio of the pool, all returning back to lawn. I'd say for us, we are not necessarily accepting the wetland line. That wasn't reviewed in detail. And that it meets the requirements for a negative determination.
Okay. So let's see. Why don't we start at the top there, Penny?
Yes, sir. It looks good to me. The cesspool that's going to be filled in, sir.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, no, the project looks good. Get rid of the pool and get them up and running again. Thank you, Frank.
Frank, we can't hear you.
I think we have Frank Snow trying to join again.
Okay. Do we have you? Frank, I have your other joining as a co-host also.
Can you hear me?
Now,
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. This happened before. I guess my voice is with my phone and you can see me on the screen.
That works.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'll figure that out someday. So Penny, do we hear from Penny regarding her comments? Looks like she's muted to me.
yes, I'm all set, Frank. I just said I wanted to know about the cesspool that they are going to fill that in. Otherwise, they need septic, and it looks okay to me. Thank you.
Okay. Then Eric.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think this is a site improvement, getting the cesspool out of there, close to the resource area, removing the impervious in-ground pool that also is in the 50. Just given the amount of work that's in the 50, I don't know if I want to play around with anything on mitigation, but other than that, it looks really good.
Okay. Brendan?
Yeah, I love a good septic, and that's all I have to say. I'm good.
There's something. Roger?
No questions.
Robbie?
Thanks, Frank. One question I had was in relation to the pool. I'd like to see some information on the plan related to how the pool is going to be filled and what material is going to be used to fill it. Specifically, I want to make sure that that material is adequately compacted so that the leaching field does not experience any kind of settlement. So, I'd like to get some information from the engineer related to that. And then I just had a question, I guess, in terms of the relief from the Board of Health. Do you mind just repeating that? I didn't catch it all.
Yeah, so we are asking for a couple of what they call reductions under maximum feasible compliance. So usually you have to have a septic, your leaching field 20 feet from a foundation wall. We're asking that be reduced down to 11 feet at that one spot. We're also asking that we reduce the separation to seasonal high groundwater from 4 feet down to 3 feet to reduce the size of the mound and the grading. And the other thing that we're asking for is that when we did the soil test, we couldn't do a conventional perk test because the soils were saturated. So we had to do what's called a sieve analysis, where we sent the soils out to a lab to, come up with the long-term acceptance rate. So those are all pretty typical things they're not variances, they're reductions under maximum feasible compliance. With respect to the portions of the swimming pool that are within the overdig, all of that's going to have to be removed all the way down, until they get into the original ground, and then they're going to have to build that back up all with Title V perk sand in that area. With respect to the area, outside of the system there, we certainly can put some notes on, whatever makes you feel more comfortable, with respect to that material. But obviously it's going to be clean fill. They're going to come in with trucks and remove all this stuff out of here, on trucks, and then bring in, clean fill material that's outside of the system. But everything that's going on within that system is going to have to be compliant to Title V's, rules and regulations, because obviously we're very concerned about what gets put underneath that leaching field, because it's critical as to whether or not it's going to function properly. So I don't think you have too much to worry about, in that area there. In the areas it gets outside of where the overdig is, certainly it's going to have to be at the very least, clean fill material, and it's going to have to be compacted so this thing doesn't turn into, a sinkhole or whatever out there. But I mean, obviously they're putting the house, for sale with this. So, I mean, the goal is this is going to have to look pretty spiffy once they're done.
Great, thank you for that. So you're saying that the area where the pool was will be replaced with sand?
Yeah, you see where part of the pool is actually where is underneath the system. So all of that material. So we have to remove anyways all the way down to where we took that sieve analysis, and I can't see although I do have the soil logs over here actually. So it's 33.5. So yeah, I mean that quite a bit of material is going to have to be removed and replaced out of there. Anyways, in the entirety of the swimming pool, anything down below that, and that's all going to get brought back up, with not just clean fill, but Title V perk sand in that area where the system is, because that's critical for it to function, underneath. As we get outside into that other area, certainly they're probably going to use a less expensive, fill material, but it's certainly got to be clean. And I know that I believe the son of the owners of the home, he works for Site Pro in town, and I believe they're going to be doing the work, and they usually do a decent job. So I don't have any,
They're bringing in sand, then I'm not worried about compaction.
Yeah,
because gravel borrow and then, bring in sand on top of that, then I would be more concerned because of the compressibility of the gravel borrow.
Yeah, I mean, you can bet as sure as we're all sitting here, if 2 years from now that whole system gets filled in, I'm going to be getting a phone call I don't want to hear. So that's all going to get done properly and according to Title V, certainly within where the system is. As it gets out towards that other area there, that might just be typical clean fill material, obviously.
That's worried about. And then it looks like the septic tank is coming into the pump tank on the side.
Yeah, so the existing plumbing comes out of the house there. So we have a 1,500-gallon septic tank that then goes into a 1,000-gallon pump chamber.
Yeah. Okay. And then it just comes in through the side of the chamber, because the diagram kind of looks like it's coming in from the end, like the typical detail in the plan.
Yeah, so it comes out of the end of the tank and then goes right into the side of that pump chamber there.
Right.
So that's all going to be below low grade. Basically, where you see that 42-foot contour, that goes through the AC and the by the three, we're basically gonna match that grade more or less, coming out. So as you're standing at the 3-season room and looking out, it's going to look pretty flat. Whereas if you were standing back, where the shed is back there and looking at it, it's going to be, an elevated system, approximately, 2.5 feet above the existing grade, but nothing crazy. It should look pretty good once they're done.
Great. Well, thank you for the information. It looks like a good design to me.
Thank you.
Did I get everybody? Is there anybody in the audience for this one?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, a couple of quick comments. Joe, just one quick question. This system is closest to the wetlands. Is there a reason that the whole system wasn't placed on the other side of the house, like out where it says parcel ID?
Yeah, in the front yard there.
Yeah.
The basic reason is that all the plumbing for the house, you got a crawl space under the house, all the plumbing comes out the back. So they would have had to reroute everything going out into the front. Aesthetics plays a part in it too. They probably didn't want to, drive in and see some kind of mound in the front. There was also some utilities coming in the front, gas and water, that could have potentially been in the way. So, it seemed that weighing all things, that it probably would have been a better idea to kind of keep it in the back there, and get the pool to come out and sort of, fix the backyard there.
Okay, I mean, that would have been, to me, the biggest thing would be if the whole system was further away from the wetlands. That would be sort of our concern. I think at least the pool is being removed, and a portion of that pool is fairly close to the wetlands. Robbie, to to your question, it always seems sort of counterintuitive to what we do with a building or something. When they do these septic systems, typically they dig out the whole area to a similar depth, and then they put perk sand in, and they don't compact it. They want it to be able to percolate, but it always seems a little odd that they're putting all this piping and infiltrators and stuff on top of material that's not compacted. You know, they sort of drive over it and press it down, but I've never seen them ever compact the sand, which, you know, when you're thinking about buildings, seems odd, but that's typical so that the sand isn't too densely packed. And because I guess they figure because it's all the same, it'll settle all similarly. And then typically the pump chambers have knockouts on the sides as well as the rear, so you can kind of position them. One of the other questions is you mentioned additional fill. So I'm gonna assume that they're gonna take the fill that they don't need or that they need to excavate from the leach field area, and they're gonna use that for fill. Um, what, you know, was contaminated with the cesspool, obviously they won't, but they'll have some extra fill. Is there a grading plan, Joe, that shows how that grade's gonna carry off from the leach field towards the back property line?
Yeah, so we're showing the proposed contours on the plan here. You can see where I have those numbers like P40, P41, P42 in the little boxes. So those lines there represent the proposed contours where they meet the existing contours. So you can see as you're coming out of the house there really isn't much of a slope, and then as you get towards the back there, it slopes down toward the property line. One of those lines is actually the remove and replace too. Where you can see where underneath where it says in ground pool, we have a P41, and then it goes up to a P42. So that's basically where that grading is ending, right there. So essentially where the pool is going to go back pretty much to the natural, grade, and then that will get loomed and seeded in that area. And then over the system, it gets a little bit higher, about 2 feet. And then as we get over to the other side where the cesspool is, where all that's getting removed, there it's about a 3.5 foot transition down. But you can see all those proposed.
I got it now. I get it. Okay. Well, I think, anytime we get rid of a cesspool especially it's adjacent to wetlands and replacing the compliance system, those are good things. Is that a fence that's off property? Is that what that mark is across the back?
Yeah, so there's a chain link fence over there. It's in pretty bad shape. There's a ton of invasive species growing around this property. I'm not really showing the kind of the tree line and stuff on it, but basically as you get to the edges there, it's just a bramble of briars and all of that type of stuff in there, and there's kind of a old beat up chain link fence in there that we're kind of believe it's not on the property line, but a little bit off.
Is there any way that can get removed?
That I don't know if it's technically off the property. I mean, is that town land there? I have the abutters on here. That have to look and see. I know behind there is town property. I'm not sure to the north there.
I was over there at Whittier. We conditioned another septic system, Jen, maybe a year ago, and I remember visiting the site. I think Jeff Morse was doing that one. And I remember looking around, and it was pretty messy with stuff that's there, but it would be nice to see some of that cleaned up. If it's town property, I can't imagine the town would object to it. And we
So
just
that
need one
fence
more thing.
isn't part. Sorry, Frank.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that fence wasn't part of the protective fencing required for the pool itself.
I have no idea why it's there, Eric, but
Yeah.
I'm seeing it on the plan and it's off property, which, you know, sometimes happens. People encroach onto other properties, but, you know, I think we're being pretty reasonable in allowing this leach area to be located here next to the wetlands when I don't know, they didn't do any test holes, or if they did, I don't know what they were on the other side of the property, which would have been further away. So I don't think it's unreasonable to look for um,
I wouldn't think it's a big deal, Frank, to just have them pull
well,
it
if it's on
down.
if
Well-
if it's on private property, then that's a big deal because you just can't go onto someone else's
Yeah, I know,
property.
but
But if I'm surprised that we don't know that who the abutters are.
I
Yeah.
want to be careful here, Frank, a little bit, and I'm just going to throw this out there. If it's
Sure.
private property, it shouldn't be considered or discussed in this forum. If it's town property, I think we got to be careful about having applicants making changes or expanding into town property. I think it's going to set some stuff where other folks are going to start to potentially want to clean up areas that may not be theirs to touch. And I just want to say on this one, we should probably stay within the lines of the property at this point, unless there's additional information that shows that it's related to the applicants who are putting this forward. I just get nervous about asking someone and saying, well, while you're doing that, also go and clean it up, because then it gives kind of the opportunity for other folks to come back and kind of encroach in areas that we don't want them to.
I don't disagree that we don't want to put undue burdens on applicants. That area, what goes back from there is all a wetland, or there's a lot of wet area, and it's really a mess. This amount of crap, and most of that came from the residents at the end of Whittier. And they encroached on, if it's town property, they encroached on town property to put it all there.
Well, I think we just need to find out. Like, I
Yeah,
think
no,
Eric,
I don't want to have a disagreement about it. I'd like to, I think if we knew that this was town property and that debris in fact was placed there by the applicant or someone along that way, it's not unreasonable to ask them to get it out of there.
if it was put there by them. And I think that Eric's question on that is spot on. Was it tied to the perimeter around the protective fencing around the pool?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Jen, how
I can look into that if it's town property, and if it is, figure out the appropriate way to, at least from our perspective of it being jurisdictional of removing the fence. Usually we don't want big equipment back there.
if anybody has the time to take a ride by and take a look at what's back there, um, it's pretty, it's a mess. There's just lots of crap that's been thrown onto that adjacent property. And I got both my screens going, or I'd look it up right now. But okay, I absolutely agree. We don't want to impose something on someone that we shouldn't impose on them, or onto someone else's property. I guess from my perspective, looking at stuff that was dumped on town property, and it might even be conservation property, because some of those pieces came to conservation, and maybe we should have known that before the meeting. But if that's onto town property, and especially if it's on conservation property, I don't have a problem putting in an order that needs to be cleaned up.
Frank, I think that property is part of the mitigation for the Ellis estate, that whole mess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Penny.
Yes,
And
I'm
I
thinking that
apologize
too.
for not jumping on that. So I just haven't had the time
Yeah.
to look at it.
We need to look at that. I don't have
So
it in front of me.
Yeah, and I totally respect the opinion of the commissioners, and I agree that we shouldn't be inputting onto people things that are not part of our purview or the acts that we're looking to protect. But in this particular case, I think it's an opportunity to get somebody to clean up stuff that they've put onto town property.
Okay, it seemed this side of the property could potentially be town property. It seems this side appears to be private, and there's a home just kind of off screen.
Okay. All right, well, maybe the fence belongs to the other folks, so we certainly don't want to touch it, but maybe we could try to take a look at that and see.
Right, right, because it's a very wooded area. It's not
Yeah,
fencing in a lawned area on the other side.
right. And I might be twisted around a little bit here, but I was out there for a couple of things, and it was just a lot of stuff was sort of tossed out beyond the. Um, okay.
Okay,
So
but for
what
the
do
All
we
right.
town
want to
part,
do?
for the
Well,
town part, I'm happy to work with whomever they need to work with to get permission, and then give a whatever kind of guidance we normally give when people want to remove fences, just like when they want to put fences in.
yeah, and I guess I mean, we're not close enough to want to worry about any wetlands boundaries or anything like that. And again, I'm not. I mean, I'm usually really happy with a new Title V system and getting rid of some of this stuff. And like you say, the pool was already encroaching. It was already encroaching on the 50, but in this particular yard, there was a whole area
Yeah,
that
in
leach field
front.
could have gone that would have been further from the wetlands. Okay. Well, I
So
think
we're
we
gonna
can
go
work. We
with the
can.
negative.
Uh, I would say so.
I make a motion for a -3, Jen.
Yes.
Somebody second that,
I'll second
please.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, that was a motion by Penny, a second by Brendan. All in favor. Um, Eric,
Yes.
Eric's muted.
Yes.
There he is. Okay, Roger,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
I'll take that as a yes, and Frank, yes. Okay. Um, Jen, when do you think the folks with the eelgrass are going to be want to be on?
Probably a little closer to 7.
Okay. All right. Do we want to discuss commission roles?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Sorry.
Thank you.
Those should be pretty quick, Frank,
Why?
because they should.
Well, I think it's good to discuss these, and it's good to make sure that folks are happy with or, with our positioning, and time moves on, and it's good to have a mix of folks that would like to participate in different ways. So, um, I'm certainly comfortable with whatever folks think that should do, or if there's folks that want to take up a different position. Um, I think that's important to consider. Anybody want to comment or or add?
Well, can I just make a motion and then they can make their comments?
Sure. Well, unless there's other discussion first.
Well, I'm sitting.
But I'm going to go around and
Yeah.
ask, I'm just going to,
Okay.
so Jen's not with us, right, this evening?
Correct.
Okay. Penny, you can express your point of view.
Bless you.
Well, I don't know what I'm expressing my point of view on because I haven't made a motion yet for the chair.
Well, you don't, just what's your feeling on how you'd like things to be structured?
I'm very happy how they're structured today, with one exception, the vice chair. We have to do that. But that's
Okay.
me.
Well, I think it's been hard for Jen to be at a lot of these things, and we might want to consider that.
Oh, I know that.
We also
I
need
know.
liaison positions. Right, Jen? What do we need for liaison positions, by the way?
We usually have somebody on coastal advisory, beach commission, CPC. It- just to name a couple.
That's it.
Jen,
Okay.
can you say those again? It was coastal advisory, beach, what?
Beach commission is usually looking for somebody. CPC,
That's mine.
What's the CPC again?
Me.
What does
So,
that mean?
it's actually, it's
the
probably,
Penny
yeah.
Scott Pipes.
So it's important for everybody to understand that. So we have liaisons for the Community Preservation Act provides for a liaison and a voting member from a bunch of, the different entities that derive money from CPC. So there's conservation, there's historical, there's affordable housing, there's recreation. Is that a Penny?
Historic. Did you say
And
that?
I said, yeah, conservation, historic, affordable housing, and recreation.
Yeah.
So each one of those four entities has a liaison from their different committees. And then on top of that, then the CPC has how many more voting members, Penny?
It's a total of 9 of us.
Okay, so there's an additional 5 other folks that are sort of are from the general public.
Yes.
And so when we pick a liaison to CPC, that person is also the voting member on CPC. And then Coastal has typically been a person working, obviously, with water issues, Corey Miles, Jen, on items that come up. I think we have a resiliency committee, and hopefully that coastal person would participate in some of the resiliency meetings and at least be informed as to what might be taking place. That seems to have been the really busy group, but I'm not even sure who is serving as a coastal advisory right now. I'm not sure.
I have
On
been
the
on
website, it's Brendan.
coastal since September of 22.
There you go.
Prior to that, I think I was like a year with beach, but I could never find them.
They're the one to join. And then the beach committee, and I think that's it. We talked about maybe appointing folks to other different things within the commission itself, like our open space, but we've never really, formalized that. So I think it's those 3, if I'm not mistaken, Jen.
that's what I have written down. There's there's a lot of committees, so I'm sure we could expand, but this would be the ones to focus on.
Okay. All right. So Brendan, you have any thoughts or comments on appointments
Um,
or structure?
I'm willing to relinquish my coastal advisory liaison position if someone else wants it. Otherwise, I could just keep it. I don't. Um, yeah, as far as who's doing what, I don't have any other. Yeah, I'm okay with the way things are. If everyone else is.
Okay, well, if you give up coastal, you might have to take on another role.
I could
Um,
take on another role too. I mean, if someone wanted me to.
I'm only, I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't know that I could take on beach commission because I couldn't find them the first time. I don't know when they meet or where or who. So I guess I could try harder this time if I did it, but
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, I think that I'm good with you, Frank, as chair. I don't know how we proceed with the vice chair in terms of who that person is. With Jen, I think desiring to step back from that. And as far as liaisons are concerned, I wish I could have more capacity at the moment, but with everything that is going on work related and that I have going on the personal side, I don't know as if this year is a year for me to take on more. I'd be happy to revisit, those liaison positions, next year. Hopefully we can sort of have a revisiting of these topics annually. So no one feels like they're stuck in a position either. Especially if life circumstances changes for other individuals on the commission. So I think that's just my general thoughts on all of the three items here.
Okay. Roger?
I I think I think I'd like to understand a little bit more about you talk about roles and Frank, I think you do a really nice job chairing the committee with all the herding cats and stuff out there. I do think there's going to be some opportunity for us. So as we move forward in the year to kind of tighten up the process. And I think with Eric's comment about Jen, I think I'd like to know a little bit more about what the intended role of the vice chair is it just to play backup for when Frank, you can't make it or there's a conflict, or are you thinking that this role is going to kind of support in a different way? And I think that's kind of my question on these roles here about chair, vice chair, and so forth as it relates to liaisons. I'd be willing to step in and support one of the three that were mentioned. Well, one of the two that were mentioned. I don't want to step into something else there. But I do have bandwidth, and I guess the question is the expectation that these are yearly roles and that the committee members will change roles or change committees every year, or to Brendan's point, is he a lifetime appointment, and he's, whether he likes it or not, he's attending that coastal advisory group until they kick him off.
Well, I'm not trying to mess with you guys. I've got to move my iPad so I can plug it in. So I might be sideways, but um, I think your point is a good one. And I think, we don't all stay in a spot forever. I sort of wound up with the chairperson's role by sort of attrition. There was a time when the commission got pretty thin, and somehow I wound up rising to the heap early in the game. And I do think it's good to make things change around. And I'm not opposed to it either, to be quite honest. I'm happy to work with someone else at some point as well.
Frank, my
Um,
question about the yearly appointments is not related to the chair and vice chair. So just
Yeah.
it's really more about the liaison, because as I hear about this, we have this discussion, I think it would be valuable for each of the committee members who are on a committee to have a set liaison role for in a particular thing, and then be able to move on to another committee and use what they've learned, both in that liaison role, but also from this committee to kind of branch out and kind of help influence and drive things from a citywide perspective. So when I say I'm interested in a liaison role or in understanding what the time commitments are, I'd be willing to take on one of the roles. If there was something out there that we had a vacancy in, I'd step in. And I do think it would probably be beneficial for most of us to kind of, move from one to another after a particular time period.
Sure. And I think to answer your question, I believe we are supposed to vote annually on all the positions. So we do need that's the rule, that we should definitely vote all the positions, including chair and vice chair. And I think over time it's good. I mean, sometimes even a change for a year or two, we can move around, and it's good for all the folks to have experience in these different roles. And to your point, sometimes maybe grabbing another one for a period of time is a good thing, just to meet up with some other folks and see how it works. If anybody wants to try to wrestle CPC away from Penny, though, you're on your own.
With the exception, let's call that out. It's more of the other ones that I'm referring to.
Okay.
The
Robbie,
more
what's
fluid
your
ones. The more fluid
Okay,
ones are the ones
okay.
that I'm actually.
You have a better chance of taking over the chairpersons than you do of getting that CPC. Robbie, what's your thoughts?
Um, I think in terms of the officers, does somebody on the committee want to ascend to vice chair so we can somebody can nominate them? Personally, vice chair and chair at this time are not of interest to me. I'm happy to be a liaison. I think I can do that pretty easily. Frank, I think you're doing a wonderful job as chair. And if we're looking for a different vice chair, then I don't know, does anybody want to be that person and we can nominate them, I guess, right?
I'm set to go with the nominations,
So,
Frank.
so Penny's a little frustrated because she's already been ready to do this, but
Right.
why don't we,
Well, they're asking.
okay, go
I
ahead,
make-
Penny.
I make a motion, Frank Snow for chair. Somebody second it, please.
I'll second that.
quickly. Thank you.
From Brendan, and I do appreciate that. So all in favor, Eric,
Yes. Do you get me?
Yes.
not yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Roger,
Yes.
Robbie,
I think I'm having the same problem Eric is. Yes, for me on this.
all right, well, I appreciate it, and someday, fairly soon, somebody else is gonna need to think about that one.
Thing
But-
is, Frank, you have so much knowledge of the town, of the wetlands. You are a gold
Well,
mine of information.
I don't know about that, but just
Well, I
maybe
do.
get.
Anyways,
Um,
I'm going to move on to vice chair.
There's a saying about that, Penny. If you can't
Yes.
baffle them with your brilliance,
Okay,
all
I'm
right.
moving to vice chair, please.
Yeah.
I make a motion. I nominate Brendan Collins for vice chair.
Okay.
It
Do you
feels
have a
weird if
second?
I'll
I shouldn't.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Thank you.
He's got the voice. That's
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I don't know that my voice is. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to
And
get a
then-
better setup.
and the knowledge. So,
Yes.
all right. So we have a motion from Penny, and we have a second
Yes, a second
Yes.
from Roger.
from Roger. All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Do I really sound like that?
I hope I didn't completely botch it, but yes, is my vote.
Hey, Robbie
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay. Oh, we're at least having some fun with this. All right. So now we need a position for CPC.
I'll make a motion to
You
nominate
can't.
Penny
I'll
Scott
make a
Pike.
motion
Why
to
can't I
nominate.
nominate myself?
I think, well, let's let a couple other people have a turn, Penny, all right?
Well, they can have it after me.
Brendan, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I would make a motion to nominate Penny Scott Pipes for CPC
Thank you.
liaison.
And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
That was from Robbie. Thank you. All in favor? Roger,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Congratulations, Penny. What a
Yay.
surprise.
I
Ah.
love my liaison because I
There
have
you
so
go.
much time on my hands. Now, how do we want to do these other two liaisons? The beach. Roger, what would you like to do?
Or Robbie.
Or Robbie?
Well, I guess the
What?
question is Brendan taking on the new role of vice chair? Is that additional responsibility? You made a joke, Frank, earlier, when you give up one, you have to take on another role. Was that a kind of a hint at him taking on this role with this committee, or what's I can be flexible, coastal advisory, what was the other one? Beach. I'd be willing to offer to be the liaison for either one of those at this point. But I don't want to take something from Brendan if he's locked in on that one.
I don't want to. Well, first of all, it hasn't been a taxing assignment. Meets once a month on a Tuesday for an hour. And it really is an hour. Unlike here, where it's kind of fluid how long the meeting is. Yeah, but I don't want to hoard all the assignments either. So
Well, sorry.
We might be shifting a few more things to the vice chair. So maybe you want to give that.
yeah, I would nominate who wants it.
Roger.
I'll nominate Roger. Roger Carroll as liaison to Coastal Advisory.
And I'll second them.
Is that something you're okay with, Roger?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that sounded a little like, yeah.
Yeah. No, please. I
Ah.
actually, it sounds very interesting when I was reading it, and so I hope I didn't feel like I pushed you out of that role.
No, that's fine. I can't make the next meeting. It's on the 17th.
Okay. Well, I don't think anybody's
yeah.
going to be making a meeting on the evening of the 17th, are we, in this town?
Yeah, we'll see who shows up.
All right. So that was the motion for Roger for Coastal. We have a second.
I'll second.
A second from Eric. All in favor,
I
Penny?
second it. Yes.
Well, whatever you did. And Robbie?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Okay. I don't know that we have really filled the beach one. I'm not quite sure what the duty entails. But it would be good to have someone in that role if one of you want to take that on.
Brendan says he can't find them.
Yeah, I didn't know where to, there was no contact information. They didn't post any meetings.
Well, that's a good one to take then.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I chased looking into it for a few months, and then I was like, I hope no one asks me what they talk about.
Okay.
I see him on the town's page. It looks like they met the 11th of February was the last meeting. Is it the Beach Commission?
Yeah.
So I think what's important with that one, if we could get someone that would like to attend at least periodically, we do have a little bit of interaction when beaches are open and closed, the mats that go in, there's some environmentally sensitive issues that should happen along with the beach. Just, I don't think we really need to get into what they do with their parking lots or lifeguards or or anything like that. I think more our role would be just to know about, maybe impacts with regard to maintaining the beaches that would be pertinent to the commission. I don't think it would have to be a role that would have to be necessarily in attendance all the time, but it would be good to have somebody maybe there when those sort of things go forward, as with some input, or at least back to the commission. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Um,
does.
Sure. I mean, I'll do it if somebody nominates me.
I nominate Robbie.
That's
Or
from Penny. You have a
Yeah.
second?
I'll second Robbie.
There we go, Brendan. It doesn't take much to get a position here, that's for sure.
There aren't many.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes. Yes. I
Roger?
don't know what's up. I feel like I have a delay with mine for some reason tonight, so I
That's
apologize for that.
all right. Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Well, congratulations, Robbie. You get a free bottle of suntan lotion.
Mhm.
No, I want a parking space.
No,
Oh, you get a free
that-
sticker. You get a free beach sticker.
there you go. Wow, if that comes
The
with that, I might
reserved
read
parking space.
You may wind up with the chairpersons, Jeff. Not that you're going to find me on the beach very much. Um, all right. I do think at some point, Jen, um, all of us, we really want to think a little bit more, maybe about a couple more positions. If we think about, maybe a trails type liaison kind of thing, we should talk a little bit more about that, and maybe we can add. It doesn't have to be super formal, but just who might be reaching out to some of these folks would be helpful. And we should give a little more thought, maybe at our next get together, or folks just have a little time to think about it. Other things that the commission's involved in. Um, we have our trails and we have our open spaces, and it might be good for an individual to be involved with some of that. And right now Eric's got his job is at town hall, so he has a good interaction with various comings and goings at town hall, which is helpful.
Frank, can I ask a question, or maybe this is a question to Jen? What's the, like, who's going to notify these committees of the changes and somebody reaching out to us so that we get looped into communications, agendas, and so forth?
I will let the select board know,
Okay.
the select board office, know, and then they'll communicate that to the chairs.
Okay.
And if you don't hear from him, Robbie, I'm sure that they're gonna hear from Penny before she hears from them. But if you haven't heard something, can let Josh or Jen know, and can make sure we get the right contact info. I'm getting messages from EDC. I don't know how the hell I ever wound up on that, or what I would have to do with them at all. So I don't know. Well, we should look at a couple more of these, but I think that's enough on this for tonight. And I appreciate your confidence in that as well. Okay. What else do we have, Jen? Congratulations to all of you.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that. We do have two modification requests, but truthfully, both of them, I need more information. The one for the cottages, they would like to make the decks larger on some of the properties, now that it's a walkout basement, instead of just squaring off the house, have a larger deck with a staircase. So I asked for some numbers, because then underneath of the decks would be crushed stone, instead of grass as we have it now. Stormwater has been reviewed for this change, and that's not impacted, but would just like to know what the total increase is of with all of the decks. So they're working on that. That question has been asked, but I just wanted to let you know this was coming because it's such a big project. It's then 184 Chief Justice. Yeah.
Jen, with regard to that one, and I'm glad that that project bears watching. It's changed in ownership and it's changed in scope. And, that's a pretty big deal when all of a sudden, they've changed things around and they want these, like you said, they want these decks to come out. And then the next thing you know, there's a patio under them. And because it's a 40B, there's no real buffer to the wetlands. So all of these, and we've had these issues before on other sites, where these folks are pretty close to the wetland already. And then you're starting to hear from folks that live there, can I put my lawn out here, or can I put a walkway or something else? So staying on that at this time is pretty critical, at least to me. And I would hope other members would feel the same way. With the 40B project, there's not a 50-foot buffer. So a lot of them are already pretty much on top of it. So it is pretty critical. And this new owner has made some fairly substantial changes so far that we've been able to do that with amending the order, but it certainly needs to be kept on top of. So appreciate your staying with that.
So just for an example, like this, I hope I'm sharing the screen where you're looking at a plan with some numbered buildings. So building number 5, see how it's just squared off right here in the corner? That's kind of how all the decks were on the site.
Yeah.
And so now most of them are larger with some stairs going down. Some are still small, but again, you do it by 24 homes and you're 25 feet from the wetland for some of these homes. Just want to make sure we understand and don't think the wetlands impacted. Is there a place for maybe some more mitigation that can go in? More areas that can be naturalized once the project's done. Might want to know some more of those numbers.
Right.
And Jen, with this being the 40B parameters that we have to work within, does that, I know you mentioned more mitigation, but does that preclude us from sort of discouraging the removal of vegetated area, albeit only turf grass, but given the place has already been mentioned, the proximity to the wetland, but then also something that I brought up in one of the prior meetings on this property was just the grade change that now exists with the removal of those retaining walls, and where water will be, naturally flowing between these buildings towards the wetlands. It's already going to be wet back there behind these homes. So any potential infiltration and uptake that any plant could provide in these areas on the rear of the home, I would think would be something. And removing that with crushed gravel, I understand it's pervious, but there is no infiltration and sort of uptake potential with gravel as there is with a vegetated surface. So I think that's where my concerns are, is the location of these, the fact that they have had a lot of changes already. So because of the 40B aspect, all of that is to say, are we able to discourage this type of work? And I guess I was encouraged by what you just said regarding increasing mitigation, perhaps in terms of buffer strips or something like that to offset. So I think that's just my concern and the question and sort of the follow through potential solution with mitigation. But those are sort of my thoughts.
Okay. Ken, when these changes, are they coming back to us to amend the orders for these, or what's their request?
Well, I think that's their question. Is this something that's big enough that needs an amendment? And it might. I mean, that would just be a process that they would need to go through with us.
But amending the orders is more involved, and it requires notification, right, to abutters and
Right.
some advertising, and then people are made more aware of the changes, as opposed to a minor modification, which can be done by Jen by herself.
Right.
So, I mean, my inclination would be these things are significant enough to require an amendment and then are they funding our peer review any more money to review these? How we doing with funds and whatnot?
That's a good question to see if we want to have that opinion of will this increase in the decks going closer to the wetland, will that have an impact? It's an area that was supposed to be over lawn when it was finished, but now that surface is changing also. Um, I do believe there'll be a concrete pad at the bottom of the steps, so maybe it does need to be reviewed for some comments from a wetland specialist. I
Who
can
was
look in to
that?
see what's left with the budget on that.
Who reviewed the wetlands first? I can't remember.
Um, the wetland delineation was reviewed by Ecotech, but when they were filing for the project, we had Lucas Environmental as far as because of the crossing and some of the other features to it to give their opinion of the project not impacting or impacting the wetland.
Okay, I would think that it would be one of those two, that we would be having review that. I think your point's a good one, that all of a sudden, and Eric's point, all of a sudden we've got areas that were supposed to be lawn, and now they're gonna have a deck over them. How they're gonna vegetate that or whatever. If Robbie's got muted, maybe.
No, I'm here. I was just being polite.
Oh, sorry.
Um, so if the decks aren't there today and there's lawn there today, and then the decks are built, the impact to the wetland would be theoretically the amount of water that the lawn could realistically utilize, correct? That would be the delta.
Well, the lawn's function is some filtration for runoff towards the wetland.
Mhm.
Um,
I think that could still be achieved by the gravel.
yeah, it's possible. I think. I'm assuming that the decks would have space, maybe there's some stuff in the decks about spacing, that kind of thing.
Because on
Yes.
other projects, we require wider spacing between the deck boards to allow the stormwater to bypass the deck. Would we do the same thing here?
It makes
Yes.
sense.
And this is also a stormwater permit, and the stormwater reviewer has commented that would be a detail that she would want is appropriate spacing for the decking.
Okay. Thank you.
But I'm gonna ask for that detail also, just to make sure we receive it.
Okay. Are there other members that I see we have a hand up from someone in the audience. Is there any other members that want to comment on this one? Jen, do you want to let in? I'm assuming this is Liz O'Reilly,
Yes, I'm unmuting Bill O'Reilly.
but we know who it is.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Liz. Good evening.
Good evening. Quick question. Is anybody there from the builder? I just have a couple of questions on some of the decks. So is there no representative from the?
I do not see anyone from their team.
This
on here
wasn't
tonight.
proposed necessarily for them tonight, Liz. We had a kind of a really reduced meeting, and we were trying to jump in on a few other, sort of administrative things. So I think
Okay.
Jen put it on there, but we're happy to take your input.
Sure, I guess in looking at the plan that was given, and I wish I could ask the question, which ones are the 40Bs? Because I was under the impression that any 40B project, that you're not supposed to be able to tell which unit is a 40B by the exterior of the project. All the units should look the same.
Well,
And
I can
it's
almost.
unusual that there's exactly 6 decks that are only 6 by 7. and everybody else is getting a big, beautiful deck. Now, I don't know if those are the 40B, but it's an odd number because that's exactly what it is. So therefore, I don't think that would be fair to those 40B people because everybody would know by their deck who had a
So-
40B and who didn't.
So but just remember, Liz, what our purview is
Uh-huh.
the impacts to the wetlands. And
Okay,
so I think your question's valid. I'm not sure it's one that we should address.
okay.
Um,
So who
but
would that be? Zoning and building?
Eric, Jim?
Yes, I believe that would be building and
Yes.
zoning. This is they're handling the other all the rest of the permitting.
The only other thing, I drove into the property the other day and down by 13 in that area, there is the biggest stack of old tires that I've ever seen. So I assume that those will be removed properly and not buried anywhere. And
We can
also,
take
want me to take pictures?
we can take note of that. Thank you.
Okay. And as far as the propane, when that comes up, you guys will be there, because I went back and looked at the plans. There is gas on Old Oak and Bucket, and I knew there was. And the original plans show gas lines.
Huh.
So I don't know why, unless it's money, he just doesn't want to run natural gas as opposed to all going through all this with propane.
Um, I don't know the answer to that question, but it would be something that maybe Jen could speak with zoning
Yeah.
or see if we could get a little bit more of an answer, because it is more disruptive to have to bury all those tanks.
I'm just concerned in the future. In the 70s, it was great to bury oil tanks and they discovered it was a nightmare. I'm afraid that 20, 30 years from now, they're going to discover that even doing the propane was not the smartest idea, especially with the wetlands and the water area there. That's just, I won't be here in 20 years, so, but those are my concerns.
Sure. I mean, my understanding with the gas as opposed to the oil is that it is a gas and that it would leach out as opposed to being an oil or something in the ground. But
Okay.
to your point, I'm certainly not an expert in that field.
Right.
But we don't typically monitor the propane tanks the way we look at oil tanks.
Right.
Just from a standpoint that assumption is that it's going to get, it's more of a safety concern if they were to start leaking
Yeah.
gas. But no, it was kind of a puzzle that they switched in that direction. And
Yeah.
I think from our standpoint, from the commission standpoint, is where they place them and that they're not any closer to the wetlands
Right.
or anything like that. That would be ours. But why they're choosing to do that is puzzling.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it takes away from any other open space features that they were supposed to provide as part of their project. So it's certainly something that the town should be addressing.
Hey,
Okay.
Frank, real quick on this one. What are we looking to accomplish with this discussion today? Is it to talk about the decks themselves? Is it that do we need to ask these guys to come back in and present an update? Or are we just talking? I mean, I appreciate the conversation about the tanks, but I'm not sure what we're trying to solve here on this one. And I want to make sure that we can continue to kind of move through this. If it's more of, Jen, we need these people to come with an updated plan, and then we could talk to them about it. What are we looking to solve here?
So I think the question to my thinking, Roger, is that is that the amount of changes in this project warrant an amendment as opposed to a minor modification. In the case of an amendment, then we would advertise this and we would hear it very much similar to the way that we would handle a hearing, so that it would be advertised and folks could come and discuss that. Because you're right, we don't want to get lost in the weeds. Some of the things that Mrs. O'Reilly has asked are not part of our purview. So we would look at this and say, do these changes significantly change the project to the point where we need additional review of maybe the peer review person or the engineer
Right.
that would be my guidance on this one.
And
So
then, so is that what is the determination on that? Is it something that's black and white, or is it more something like just what we think we want them to do here?
maybe Jen, can you get out the definition of both, just send it to members, that, you know, the difference between a minor modification and an amendment?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we do that? So that you can, because I can't give it to you verbatim. But I think it would be good for everybody to understand that.
Yes, I can send that out.
Okay, and
And
then why
then
don't you give it some thought, Jen, as well? Usually, Roger, this is something that the agent would look at and make something, and then she might make us aware of it and say, hey, I've got this request for a change. How does the commission feel? Is this something that we can do under minor modification, or do we feel it's significant? And we can vote that, or at least discuss it.
Yep.
So maybe a little bit more information, but if you're asking me right now, with these changes, my gut feeling is that it probably warrants an amendment to the orders.
which makes a lot
But
of
what,
sense because it's a 40B, so it's kind of operating under a little bit of a different set of rules. You know, we are the state in this sense. We're not Scituate. Um, so
right,
all the more reason, you know, that model is you know, it's an amendment. If you're changing the plan, it's an amendment. Um, so I can give them that feedback and that let's hear it as an amendment. It's kind of what I'm maybe hearing, but either way, comments on stormwater and details on the deck.
okay. Anybody else want to add to that?
I think it should be an amendment, Frank. I agree
Okay.
with Jen.
All right, let Jen get that stuff out along with the description of that, and then we can deal with it. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
What else do we have tonight?
We have the students from CSCR are here if we want to hear them. I know we're maybe doing it a little bit out of order, but just since they're all logged in.
Okay,
Um, give me one moment to get there and all right. Susan, I'm unmuting you, and I think I see some other folks I should be unmuting as well if they want to raise their hand, just so I
Yeah,
know for
it's
sure.
Henry Herman, Bridget Ryan, and Amelia Dietzick.
Okay. And
Okay. Is everybody there?
Yes.
And then are we going to be able to share our screen?
you might be able to.
Can you make it be Bridget who does it? Bridget Ryan?
I can try.
Okay. If not, I can do it. I have it ready.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm Susan Bryant. I'm from the Center for Student Coastal Research in Cohasset at the end of Parker Avenue. And we do real world research with students in the Cohasset Harbor Estuary. And I'm going to have the students do most of this presentation because that's how we roll at CSCR. But I just wanted to give you one piece of information, which is that we're really happy to be here with you, the Scituate Conservation Commission, because all of the eelgrass that is left is on the Scituate side of the water. So, and I'm also just going to mention that we're not involved in the disputes about land, nor do we want to be. And our students will probably use the terms for the waters. So like Massachusetts Bay and Gulf of Maine are not jurisdictional, they're bodies of water. Cohasset Outer Harbor is a body of water, and we don't think that has to do with jurisdictions. So just wanted to make that clear. And yeah, so I think, yeah, I'll just pass it over to the students and we just have a short presentation to introduce you to what we do and what the status of the eelgrass is at this point. And then we hope to do restoration coming up.
Hi, so I'm Henry. I'm a junior at Norwell High School, and I'm just going to start this off. So, as Susan said, CSCR, Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research, founded in 2002, but we don't need to go over all that. We just need to say that we are the eelgrass team. So we're specifically focused on the eelgrass around Cohasset Harbor, and we've came together to start researching this last summer, and we are going to continue going into this summer as well.
So my name is Amelia Dizek. I'm a junior at Dublin School, but I'm a resident of Scituate. So eelgrass itself, its official name is Zostera marina. Unlike other dune grasses, it is fully underwater and lives most of its life underwater. There are some grasses that will sometimes be exposed during really, really low tides, but all of the eelgrass in our area lives fully underwater. It has this ribbony-like material and look to it, and is quite like soft to the touch. So this is a video of us snorkeling.
And I'm Bridget Ryan. I'm a junior at Scituate High. And a little bit about why eelgrass is important. It is one of the best remedies for climate change, and it also helps stabilize the shoreline by the roots and rhizomes hold settlement in place. And then it also can help mitigate wave action. And as a Scituate resident, that is definitely something that the houses on the shore deal with a lot. So it can help break up those waves and make them smaller, protecting the shoreline. And then these are our local research sites. We work out of the CSCR building and in Cohasset Harbor. And these names are all made up, like we just name them to be able to better identify them. And this is what we call the area formerly known as Eelgrass Meadow. And this used to be really dense eelgrass, but now it is unfortunately all sand and gravel and like seaweed on the bottom, and there is very little to none remaining eelgrass there. And then as we move further out, this site we found this summer, this is El Dorado, and this is one of the main sites where we would research and collect a lot of our samples, and this was a really lush site. So we spent a lot of our time here. And then as we move farther out, this is Nick's Cove, and this is between Shepherd's Ledge and Gull Island, and this is another place where there's a lot of eelgrass, and it's more of a protected area.
So this is a map that each one of these data points is data that we have collected ourselves. And as you can see now, this is what the eelgrass looked like before 2021. But this is what it looks like now. So as you can tell, there's been a huge decline. And this is really harmful. And you can see that our data matches the blue. The blue area is the reported presence of eelgrass by the Mass DEP. So our research is backed up by other organizations. And you can just see how there's been such a drastic decline in recent years, which is what we're really sort of trying to address.
So a little bit about what our team is doing. Our team is mainly trying to build a plan for restoration in the future. So we have to like determine where they're located in order to harvest them and understand more about it in order to come up with a restoration plan. And we also use a lot of technology like GoPros to do this. And an additional technology that we use is the YSI. And the YSI tracks salinity, temperature, pH, and dissolved oxygen in the water. And we believe that by tracking this over a long period of time, we can see where and what water quality the eelgrass flourishes the best, and hopefully we can try to incorporate this into our restoration plan.
So, like Bridget was saying, a lot of the work that we do is out on a boat in Cohasset Harbor. We as students are actually the ones in the water. All of the videos and photos you've seen are work. And so, as a team, last summer we did a lot in the terms of understanding the patterns of eelgrass and specifically the reproductive phenology of it. So these are photos under the microscope from some of the eelgrass that we harvested. We try very hard to only harvest eelgrass minimally, and we often only take it when it is comes up on our like anchor and stuff like that. So these are some of the photos of the stages of eelgrass reproduction, and this was really important to understand seed maturity. By understanding that, we can hopefully find understand like a timeline for when we could harvest and then hopefully replant later down the line, supporting restoration.
And then this video, this summer, we had the opportunity to go over to Scituate Harbor for one of our expeditions. And we noticed that in Scituate Harbor, the water near the eelgrass was much shallower. Like we were able to stand in it, and we also noticed there's a lot more crabs. So by being able to go over to Scituate Harbor, we could see kind of the differences in like where eelgrass was flourishing the best. So this is a really cool opportunity. And then here is just kind of some of the what we do in our labs. We collect samples, and this is an example of a reproductive shoot. And as we have previously said, the seeds need to be ripe when we harvest them. So this is an example of like a ripe reproductive shoot that we harvested from the ocean. And here's just more images of how we measure and collect data on the eelgrass. And this is an image of a full eelgrass plant.
And so the reason we care so much about restoring eelgrass is because as far as marine vegetation goes, eelgrass is really the best out there because it does something called carbon sequestration, which means carbon that otherwise would be in the atmosphere. Eelgrass absorbs it through its leaves and its roots, and it stores it in the sediment under the plant, which is highly beneficial to the overall atmosphere and our local air quality. And eelgrass also plays a big part in promoting biodiversity in our harbors. It provides food and ton of habitat space for many species.
So, and then looking at sustainability and discovery. So, during our dives, we see a lot of biodiversity. There are snails, starfish. We have a whole bunch of seals who we get to say hi to on our expeditions, as well as in this photo, this is a tunicate under a microscope seen on one. This is like a piece of eelgrass. And so, throughout our work, we've been trying to find and figure out some of the reasons for why eelgrass could be disappearing. And so one possible theory is that these tunicates are having a parasitic relationship with the eelgrass and harming it. We have many other theories, but this is just a photo. And then as terms of sustainability, we work really hard to try and only put out things into the ocean that will biodegrade, as well as making sure all of our equipment comes back with us. So this is a short video of what our beds look like. This is not at full, like a full bed. It is only partially covered on the floor, but looking forward, we're really hoping to continue this work and take this knowledge that we now have into hopefully a future restoration plan.
So we're going to continue to monitor the eelgrass as we have been for all these years, and we're sort of the ground truthing squad for DEP. We've applied for a few grants. I just heard today, sad news, that we did not get the one from Atlantic Coast Fisheries Habitat Partnership, but we still have one out with Mass DEP, and that's to do eelgrass restoration and blue carbon studies. So we're lucky to work with EPA, DEP, Mass DMF, MIT Sea Grant, and a bunch of professors at the universities who are often willing to come join us in our harbor and to come out in our research vessel and go for a swim. And they've been coaching us in what we should do in terms of restoration. So we may come before you officially to figure out what permits need to happen for the restoration. There's a little bit of collection of seeds and possibly of plants, and then there's very low impact dropping the things that we will use to regrow the plants. And generally, everybody seems to think that restoring eelgrass is a great idea. There's only 10% success rate these days. So they're saying, please just go out and do it, and then do it a second time if you can, and maybe we'll get to 20%. So it's exciting, but it's not anything guaranteed. It's very experimental, so we're excited to try. We're definitely going to be working with you and whoever else we need to do the permitting. I also just wanted to mention that the story map was made by the students. It's their work, and they will be presenting at the State of the Harbor, which I would love to have you all come to. It's a great community event held at the Cohasset Senior Center, and it will be April 7th. I think that's right. Anyway, it's a great time for communities to come together and talk to the students about their findings and ask specific questions. But we do invite you to ask questions now. And I think, yeah, let's go to that right now.
Great. Thank you very much for the presentation, the students and yourself. It's great information. Maybe we could just move around to commission members for any questions or for comments. That seems like appropriate. Penny?
Yes, I just want to thank them for the work they're doing. I love it when young people get involved in the environment, because it is going to be their environment. I'll be long gone, but I just think it's a great project, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you, Penny.
Yeah.
Brendan?
Yes, yeah, thank you. This is a great presentation. I think I had no idea eelgrass was going away at an alarming rate. I was wondering why, but it seems that that's just theoretical at the moment. So I don't know if I want to push on that. So, but look forward to working with you, and I hope you guys get eelgrass growing again.
Thank you, Brendan. Eric?
Yeah, I agree with both Penny and Brendan. I think that it's excellent work. I think that it's fantastic that we have some local, youth engagement on items like this, and broadcasting this information out to others, I think is critical to help generate awareness and enthusiasm behind a lot of this wonderful work that you guys are doing. And, to identify a problem is huge. To just identify that there is a problem, like you guys have done, I think is a really admirable thing. And then examining why that problem exists is also really important work that you guys are doing. And using that why to help create a path forward to what that solution is, I think is also really important and admirable. So I really hope that you guys have some good luck finding a more focused reason as to why the eelgrass is disappearing, because that will only help your endeavors to increase the populations that have gone by the wayside. So thank you again.
Thank you, Eric. Roger?
First off, I want to thank the students for presenting tonight. This was a very nice, well-presented presentation. The material was very informative, and I think it's an important message that continues to need to be shared within the communities along the South Shore. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are going to have an opportunity to present at the State of the Harbor next month, and I will put that on my calendar and see if I can make it over there. I guess the one thing that I would ask is how can we continue to support you in this, and please don't hesitate. I think it's these type of presentations, bringing it to our attention. Frank, one of the things I've wanted is, like, how do we continue to educate the community that we live in so that they can be aware of it? And I think, Brendan, you nailed it by saying, I didn't realize the eelgrass was going away, right? That's an important aspect of the communities along the South Shore. And I think it's very important to get those messages out there, and we need to continue to support advocates like students tonight who are passionate about this, to give them a forum to support them. So well done.
Awesome. Thank you. Robbie?
Thanks, Frank. I had one comment and one question, and I'll start by saying it was a great presentation. I appreciated it. I learned a lot about eelgrass, and I thought the visuals were excellent on it. One suggestion I would make to students presenting in front of boards and committees is to keep your camera on so that people can make a better connection with you and a more personal connection, especially when you're trying to persuade a committee or a board or some other group to see things the way that you want them to see. I think it aids in that. And the question I had was in terms of the restoration of the eelgrass, kind of if somebody could describe how that happens. Is it a seedling or is it a seed itself? Or I'm not familiar with that. So if somebody could.
I'd be happy to talk to that. So there are different processes that different organizations have tested. We at the end of last summer, we collected a few shoots or like eelgrass plants that were at kind of peak maturity for the seeds themselves and kept them in a tank in our lab. And the goal was to match the water in there to the ocean itself, which is why the whole YSI technology was really useful. Anyways, I digress. But the seeds themselves, one of the ways we can actually put them back out into the ocean is by gluing them to, I believe it's, I don't remember if it's mussels or clams, but clams, that's yes. So by gluing them, the clams themselves they bury themselves in the sand and then with that bury the seeds. So it's like a natural way to get the seeds back out into the ocean. Other organizations have used, or like other scientists have used other methods with like sending out like mesh, kind of like bags with pockets of seeds in more larger scale. But we have kind of, since we're on a smaller scale, been just trying to find ways that we can do it most effectively with the best results. And also hopefully, because we're on a smaller scale, we can just try a whole bunch of things. So yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's all for me, Frank.
Thank you. Jen, or any other comments from you or Josh?
I am set. Thank you. I will send out information that was mentioned about the April event to everybody.
That would be awesome.
No comments from me, Frank. They did a great job.
Thank you, Josh. Oh, I feel the same way. That was great information. I'm going to look forward to hearing from Jen on when that happens, and without tying everyone up for the seat. Now I got a whole bunch of questions, but we'll move on to the next step. And we so appreciate. To be honest, this is the best part of conservation. It's these kind of programs. The hearings are a filler for the work that's done in the field. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. And if any of you are interested and want to come out with us, we have a small research boat, but we usually have room for, an extra person to come and, snorkel with us if you want, or just watch us drop the cameras in. Low tides in the summer, we'll be out there.
What's the
And
highest?
otherwise, we hope to see you we hope to see you and anybody else you'd like to invite at the State of the Harbor. And Jen will have the link to the story map. So if you want to zoom in on that map and dig in a little bit more, you have the option to do that.
That'd be awesome. I'd want to come out on the calm days. I'm a fair weather boater. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you all. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, do we have anything else this
Yes, we
evening?
do. We have the continued conversation on 42 Crescent.
Oh,
They did come back after last week, and I'll bring that plan up. Proposing to remove the patio that is outside of the 50-foot buffer. And I'm working to bring that up, but oh, hold on. Let me.
Shouldn't this be a quick conversation then, Jen?
It sure can be. I have. Sorry, there's a lot of clicking right now. I have Darren and Todd are here also. There we are. And if you give me one more moment, I will find the plan, I think. All right, so this is one. Sorry, I'm on a smaller screen, so I can't see. So please let me know if you're looking at the one where it says remove existing permeable paver. So I believe this is the patio they are proposing to remove.
That's correct. And I do have a side by side on the PowerPoint.
Okay, all right, yes. Okay, all right. And my screen's a little goofy. So this is what they're proposing to remove, and this is what was permitted. So we didn't have anything here. It was just a walkout basement. So that's we had mentioned that last week. Wanting to bring the site back to what it was originally permitted to be, which was lawn. I'm not sure if we lost Frank.
I'm still here. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yep.
I'm shifting around a couple of charges because I'm running low on power. We have to make this quick. So they're essentially removing the rectangular patio on the left, right?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. But then the patio on the right still has that sort of where before there was shrubs that had that angle and it was a rectangular patio. Now it's a larger patio um, with a sort of a rounded front. So do we know how much more patio that is?
I don't have that number. I don't have that number right with me. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can grab it.
While you're looking for that, why don't we just move to some members? Brendan?
It seems to me that yeah, I guess yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
I can't put together a thought at the moment.
All right. Eric?
Yeah, it's certainly good that we're going back to something that resembles what we approved. It's still, lost on me as to why we can't just go through the proper procedures on these things. Again, it's not like this is the first time we've had this conversation with this site. So, yeah, it's good that the thing has been removed. And, it's still one of those situations where it's still scratching your head. That's all I have for the moment.
Okay. Roger?
It's good. I think it goes back to the original requirements, and so I'm good with that.
Robbie?
Where it says on the top viewport deck overhead, is that permeable paver patio underneath the deck?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then with the removal of the patio on the left, the walkout door is just going to be onto grass, onto lawn, or is there going to be some landing there or something?
Onto lawn.
Okay. I'm okay with this.
Jen? I'm sorry, Penny, did I ask you yet?
You don't want me.
Go ahead.
I'm still not happy with what went on out there, and I still think we need some mitigation for their naughtiness, but that's me.
Okay, do we have anybody in the audience?
Brendan has his hand up.
Brendan, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I just want to be clear. We're just talking about to remove the existing permeable paver patio is just that square. It's not the additional area that, or is it the entire permeable paver patio?
No, it looks to me like, Darren, I asked about an increase in square footage over what was proposed. So can you tell us what that is?
So we were talking about 158 square feet before. I don't have that number though. I think it might be that 158, but I want to confirm. Hold on.
So you were proposing 158 square feet, and now we have a patio that's sort of got an arc shape to it, and it sort of goes off on a leg. So this got to be still more square footage in the patio than what was originally proposed. Am I reading that
I
correctly?
broke it up inside the 50 and outside the 50. That's why I'm having a.
I want to know how much more, you have an approved plan with X number of square feet of patio, and then now you're asking to build one, or you built one with how much more patio? And you can remove the section you're proposing to.
Right. So in the previous plan, I identified all um, the areas that were impacts that were built. There was 158 square feet of impacts within the 50-foot buffer zone. And then I identified another 615 square feet of impacts within the 100-foot buffer zone that included the generator pad with the AC pad, included the permeable patio that is in the center of the house, and also included the patio that we're talking about removing.
Personally, I think it would be good to have a chart that shows us what we approved and what you're proposing. Should be on the plan in a corner or a separate sheet. Because I'm
Go
still
back to this plan I submitted last week without the photograph. We created this plan that removed this patio because that was what we were specifically talking about at the last hearing.
Well, we talked about overall additional work that was not approved. That patio was part of it, but it wasn't the only thing. It's what was conditioned and what did you actually construct, and what's the difference?
Can we show that previous plan that we put up last week or last hearing?
Let me have a moment to find that. I'll work on that. I don't have the shared drive the way I normally do.
So while Jen's looking for that, is what you're proposing, does that include additional mitigation?
What we did was we removed the mitigation and we removed the patio because of the conversation we had last week.
Yeah. but you still have an area that's bigger than what was conditioned.
Yes.
That is correct. So the last plan will show you all of the impacts in the 100 and all of the impacts inside the 50. And all the impacts inside the 50 being removed.
How can that be, Darren, if
Because you'll see when we put up the, oh, okay, now it's here. So the impacts inside the 50, the permeable patio that we're saying to be removed, the 50-foot line comes, half bisects that patio and then
okay,
comes
so
down.
I get your point about the 50, but we still conditioned a project that was less than what you have now. Even removing that patio.
Right, you were asking about quantification of this. Does this help?
Yep. But to other members, just so it's clear, the patio that they added is in the 50, that's true. But the patio that we conditioned was a decent amount, maybe 40% smaller than what they've constructed. Not including the additional patio that they're already removing. I don't even know what the number is.
Yeah.
Frank, are you suggesting there should be some mitigation to offset this additional paver patio that's not?
Yes.
If we want to accept that.
I think that's reasonable.
I know that I would like to know what the difference in size from the original patio that was approved and what will be remaining here. What is proposed to be remaining here. I'd like to know those two numbers, including this thing on the side with, because this is all in the 100. It looks like it might actually be touching the 50 over there as well, but that's what I'd like to know, and then go from there on what should be mitigation if we're going to accept this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just about there. So patio that we're proposing to be removed is 240 square feet. So if we say 615 plus the 158 is 773 minus the 240, so there's 533 inside the 100.
An increase of 533 square feet
Inside the 100, correct.
from what was approved.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And what mitigation is proposed?
Yeah.
So we were trying to do what you had asked us to do last time. So we removed the 240. Our previous is on this plan, but I just need some clarification from Todd as far as what you'd like to do here. You can see what was on this option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, option in A and B, right?
That's correct.
And what were the size of those?
So can you scroll up, Jen?
Yep. Yes.
Although I understand these may not be on the table at the moment.
I had asked to see this so I could quantify those impacts for you because I knew they were on there.
Is this the chart you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking for the mitigation though down below where it says option A and option B. I think option A was like 1,000 square feet of removing invasive, and option B is 931 square feet.
Okay.
Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, I lost one of my screens. So how much more in patio is here now than what we conditioned? Forget being 100 or 50 or whatever. What's the increase in patio from what we conditioned and what you have existing?
Just in front of you, all the impacts. Just
If let's say that you've already proposed to take out the rectangular patio, so the remaining patio, the what we curving patio, whatever with the leg on it, how much square footage is there compared to what we approved? Just to get-
Was that 533?
yeah, but that included the generator pad, the driveway.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, sorry. Scrolled too much.
So I need to re-break down those and give you the answer of what's just the patio. Does that make sense?
well, I would like to know the patio and the generator pad. And I don't know if we were talking about a driveway personally.
Um, can you go back to that
Yes.
previous? The generator pad's approximately 85 square feet. That includes the generator and the ACs. So we're pointing to the driveway over here with the 615. So if we went to the side by side, you wouldn't see this area as driveway. So this is 85. Let me. I just didn't have them all broken down. I didn't know we were doing this. So 533 minus 85. The other thing I don't have in front of me is the previous proposed patio. I have to take a minute to find that.
Do we have anything else on the agenda for this evening? It's already 8:00.
I mean, well, they're not here, but 126 Edward Foster and their patio.
Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but this was supposed to be a quick meeting.
Yeah.
Anybody who picked the under lost.
Frank,
we
mind
didn't
if
hit
I-
on
real
180.
quick?
I'm sorry, who was that?
It was Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, just from a clerical point of view, I think in the future it might be pertinent to have itemized impacts on our plans, just to show by structure what's being added or diminished to make it easier for these sorts of moments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I agree.
Just wanted to throw that in there. Just something to think about.
Yeah. And Jen, I'm sorry, what was the other project tonight?
126 Edward Foster. They have a patio.
Yeah. My inclination here, if anybody else wants to stay on with this, but I think, Darren, I'd like to see a real good breakdown that's clear, not kind of reshifting the cards. And let's keep the mitigation on the table as well. And see just how much those footage changed in an actual sheet that you can submit to Jen.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
And maybe you can get that out sooner than later so we have a chance to look at it. And if we have questions, we'll get them back to you. So maybe at the next meeting, we'll be closer to pulling this together. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but I don't see the information I want for tonight.
That makes sense, Frank.
Time to move on.
Yes.
Agreed.
Can I ask when the next meeting is?
Next Monday.
Yeah, next
Thank you.
March 16th and March 30th.
Yeah. So you got a couple of opportunities, but the sooner you get that stuff and it's all clear on some pay, and if you can get that to Jen, she can give it to us. If we have some questions, we'll get it right back to you. That way we have all the information we want to see.
Yeah, I got these in.
That's it for tonight.
Okay.
All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
That's Penny. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Oh,
That's Brendan. All in
Oh, yeah.
favor? Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Robbie.
I said yes.
Okay. And Robbie?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you all so much. I'm going to make another list of some other positions, maybe in the commission as well. Talk them over with Jen and see if we can maybe add a few more things to different members to consider. So we'll try to get that together as well. All right.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Frank.
Y'all have a good
Have a
night.
good night.
Thanks so
Have a
much.
good night,
Take
everyone.
care. Night.